Hey, what's up everybody? It's Kellen here from Start Your Systems again, and welcome to another video in Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game. Today I'm just going to play a little throwback track, basically. I kind of decided to, after doing the video of the 2009 season recap where I made those three tracks, which were A1, Jacksonville, and Salt Lake City, I had a lot of people comment and say that I should make St. Louis 2009 because, well, let's face it, it's pretty much one of the greatest Supercross tracks built, at least in this century, if not all time. And so I decided to have a sit and go ahead and build it, and this is basically what I came up with. I know it's not like completely perfect. I wouldn't say it's even the best iteration. I'm sure somebody else has made it on, like, you know, PS4 or Xbox and have maybe done it a little bit better, but this is about the closest I could get it. So kind of talk you through the track a little bit first, then kind of throw down a trip down memory lane again a little bit, talk about the race and what it was like. But yeah, so I mean, like, the key characteristic about this track that everyone kind of loves about it was actually designed by Travis Pastrana. This is back in 2009 when the boys at Feld actually had good ideas and decided, let's get a bunch of former pros to design the Supercross tracks. So, like, Wyndham made a track. I think he made Houston that year. LaRocco made Indianapolis, and Pastrana made St. Louis. And this track was like just amazing because it was the most like broken up flow track I think I've ever seen. Like, there's so many miscellaneous turns and sections, and this section right here, actually, there was a lot of troubles all night long because Stu and Reed were the only guys who were able to do pretty much what I just about did, which was go dragons to dragons. And then all these different rhythm sections had several different lines to get through them. This section was unique, coming back across like the start straight area, but then you kind of jumped into these rhythm sections at the beginning. And overall, I mean, like, the track itself was just so unique, so different, something that we really hadn't seen much of before. So it was kind of groundbreaking too, because it got thrown into the middle of a fantastic season with Reed and Stu battling it out, and then you know, the track itself was so unique and different that it kind of just made the race overall really good. So what I kind of did with building this track was do the best I could to replicate it off the TV, because the track map that they released, you know, beforehand versus what was actually put onto the track ended up being like fairly different. Like, the finish line jump was in a completely different spot. Couple of the rhythm sections shaped up differently. There is a couple spots that I couldn't make it flow as exactly as I saw it on TV, but it's still pretty close. So I think you guys will get the gist of it and kind of understand that. But, like, you know, this was actually a whoop section on the track map, and then the finish line jump was over here. So I flipped them because on TV, you know, like when the race was actually ran, it was obviously different. I couldn't do some split things, like jumping up onto the over-under was a completely different situation. There's one where you could like pop right up onto it like I did where I built it, or you could go to the right-hand side of it and just kind of float over it. So couldn't really manage doing that, but then like all these split lane rhythm sections that I've done on the back end of the track are pretty close to what they were. That section that I just went through at the beginning before you cross over the starting gate area is actually, there's like, it was kind of like you jumped up onto a plateau and then jumped off into the first little rhythm section. So I couldn't really do that because there isn't really like a plateau jump per se that you can make in this game. But I did, you know, kind of what I could with the objects given to me. And then this like large single was also a small table, but I don't know, it just didn't really fit in the flow of the track, so I just made it a large single. Other than that, most of it's pretty much there. The section I just went through actually had a raised outside corner and a lowered inside corner before you went under the tunnel. So again, something I couldn't really build there. But like I said, I tried to do the best I could with the objects given to you in this game, and I don't know, I think it turned out reasonably cool. You could make your own judgments. It's called SYS_St. Louis 2009. It's on PC. Haven't made it on PS4 yet. I might, but not going to swear to that. And yeah, just a really, really cool track design. Just so many different little like nuances that you don't really see much of on a normal Supercross track these days. There's a lot of unused space in the middle of the floor, which I know that most of the time they don't like doing that these days. But this track just had such a different flow to it. Like the lap times itself, you know, weren't necessarily the longest lap times, but you know, with as little used space as there was on the floor, you could fully expect it to be a sub 40-second lap time, and they were not. So I think it was good enough that it broke up the flow of the race, that riders weren't able to connect lines as easily. And I don't know, Travis did a pretty good job. He actually raced this race, did Pastrana. Did not qualify out of the heat, had to go to the LCQ, and I think he was riding a 252 stroke if I remember correctly. Nope, no, actually he was on a 450 and fried his clutch in the LCQ, and the bike just went up in smoke while he was actually in transfer spots. So that was the last time we saw Travis Pastrana on a Supercross track for racing purposes. Maybe one of the most naturally talented riders I've ever seen that will go down in the history books as having never won a Supercross race. Pretty crazy, because he was really, really good, and a lot of people always mention that if he had put his mind to it and, you know, trained like he, you know, should have for the era, that he's very capable talent-wise of at least running with Carmichael on occasion, and, you know, maybe getting in there with Reed in 03-04, so. But I digress. Pastrana had a pretty good career otherwise, I'd have to say. So on about this race a little bit more. The 250 class was not the most, you know, entertaining race, but it did provide, I would say, kind of an unsuspecting winner, and that winner was Blake Wharton. I don't think it was his first career Supercross victory. I'm trying to remember. No, I think he'd won one before that, but yeah, just I feel like a pretty normal race as I remembered. I think he got into the lead kind of early, and Chaos kicked off behind him, and he just kind of cruised out front, and everyone kind of forgot he was leading until late in the race. But the 450 class was the race that most people remember from this, because it was just a continuation of the Stuart Reed saga that had always been going on. But they started, I think, Reed whole shot. Stuart was third or fourth again, as they kind of always seem to do that year. Stuart got into second pretty early. They diced for 2 laps maybe, and then Stuart took the lead on lap 3 or 4, and looked like he was just going to set sail and take off. Like, Reed didn't have much for him. He stayed with him for a couple laps, but then Stuart was able to pull away, and it got to right around like the 15-ish lap mark, because there wasn't much race left once this happened. But on this tunnel jump right here, Stuart, I think, missed a shift and went right up and over the bars right on top of the tunnel. Almost got taken out as Josh Hill on the factory Yamaha team came by and like clipped him, and then Reed obviously took the lead. Stuart got going behind him and then was too far back to capitalize on that, so Reed took the win there. I think that was the second win for him of the season. He won Indy to start, then won St. Louis, and then yeah, I think that was the second win of the season. No, maybe Daytona was before that. But anyway, just another chapter in the book of that 2009 season again. And I know, like I said, a lot of people commented and said they wanted to see the 2009 St. Louis Supercross track. So this is what I have come up with. You guys can tell me in the description if you think that this is trash or decent, you know, as you normally do. I think it's actually a pretty good rendition of it. I thought it would turn out a lot worse than it did, at least, because I felt like there's several objects I couldn't really make work. But I don't know, it turned out pretty cool. I think the flow of it's not that bad either, for it being as tight as it is in this game. I feel like this game, everything needs to be scaled up just a little bit for the flow of everything to be better. But I don't know, I think that the flow of this track is pretty good. I would recommend. I don't know if I'd give it 10 out of 10. But anyway, this is St. Louis 2009. You guys can, like I said, try it out. SYS_St. Louis 2009 on the PC. And try it out. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. And I hope to see you guys in all of our future videos on the channel. But thanks for watching another one here on Start Your Systems. And I'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.